From the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day better than us. And I hope you made it at the Simmons Bank over the weekend, like Big Bet Bennett did, the Liberty Hole as they call it, for another impressive Memphis victory. Now it sets up what could be one of the biggest weeks in the history of Tiger football. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. When I finish this open, we're going to take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway did a Q&A with John Rothstein over the weekend. It was interesting. I'll address some of it. We'll do that in about 20 minutes. Bennett's Tennessee Titans blew a 17-0 lead yesterday in their season opener. Lost to the Bears. Will Levis threw a couple of interceptions. We'll show you one of them, the worst one, a little later on in the show. The NFL has announced that Kendrick Lamar going to be performing at halftime of this season's Super Bowl. So that's another rough development for that Canadian colonizer Drake. We'll spend a few minutes on that in the third segment. Angel Reese's rookie season with the Chicago Sky, it's over because of a wrist injury. That stinks. Tell you more about that in just a little bit. And Shohei Ohtani homered again yesterday. Dodgers 4-0 win over Cleveland. He's now got a career-high 46 homers on the season. Got a chance to become Major League Baseball's first 50-50 player. We'll talk Shohei for a minute. We'll do it during a segment we call 5 more things you need to know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a whole bunch to get to, but I want to start with just thanking Bennett and Kyra and Robbie and Lang and Jalen and Jacob and everybody else who held things down while I was away on vacation for the past week or so. Spent a few days in the Bahamas, spent a few days out in Las Vegas. It's always nice to unplug like that, and even nicer when you can do it with the comfort of knowing, good people holding things down in your absence. So thanks to everybody for that, especially Bennett. And yes, it's nice to be back and re-energized and refocused for what could be, like I mentioned already, one of the biggest weekends in University of Memphis football history. Note I didn't say the biggest, not going to be the biggest, but it could be one of the biggest, and it really could be one of the biggest weeks in Memphis history because it could be a week that launches the Tigers to a rare 3-0 start on the season, into the Associated Press Top 25 poll, and into a position where they are nearly everybody's picked as the most likely Group of 5 team to earn a spot in the 12-team college football playoff. And it could come at the expense of the program's greatest coach ever, Mike Norvell, because, yes, it is Memphis, Florida State week. Kick is scheduled for Saturday, 11 a.m. They're going to do it inside Doak Campbell Stadium. Memphis enters with a 2-0 record. FSU, you might have heard, 0-2 with losses to Georgia Tech and Boston College. Mike Norvell's Seminoles were ranked 10th in the preseason AP poll. They're now unranked and getting 0 votes in that same AP poll. They are, as of this moment, I think you can reasonably describe them as the most disappointing team in the sport. So tell me, Big Bet Bennett, are you fired up for this opportunity because your Tigers no longer have to beat a top 10 team on the road in order to stay undefeated, as much as they just have to beat an 0-2 team on the road to stay undefeated? Or are you a little depressed because now you find yourself in a situation where if you go and beat Florida State on the road, it's not a win over a top 10 team. It's just a win over a team that 2 unranked teams have already beaten. In other words, now the win doesn't mean as much as a win would have meant, and a loss, well, that'll hurt you more than we thought it would a few weeks ago. How you feeling?
So obviously there's some air out of the sails, but I will say because we never get to play teams like this, I'm still really excited about the game. Like if we were playing, a terrible Miami team. I would still be excited about it because it's like we never get to play schools like this. You might get to do it once a year if you're a Memphis football fan. So I'm still excited about the game in that sense. Yes, it is a bummer that they appear to not be a very good football team right now. But you got a chance to get a win.
Do you see the point spread?
I saw it.
It's only Florida State -5.
I mean, I think that's more of, obviously that has to do mostly with them.
Sure.
I think too,
I think it has something to do with Memphis.
For sure. Like, I think that the country knows that the Tigers are going to be able to probably put up some points.
They put up 38 on Troy.
Yeah.
That don't mean you put up 38 on Florida State.
Sure.
But Memphis is not just 2-0 against two whatever teams. Memphis has looked good while moving to 2-0. You would agree with that. You were inside the Liberty Hole on Saturday. You saw it with your own eyes.
I was there. I took my boy. We had a great time, by the way. Yeah, we had a great time.
How did it feel to be in the Liberty Hole? I will tell you, I watched it on TV from Las Vegas. It doesn't look crazy.
No. It doesn't look crazy. In fact, like you get a good view of it all when you're there, especially if you're us, because my kid likes to sit at the very top of the stadium.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
So which is great for me. It saves me money.
Sure.
But the cool thing about it, being there and seeing it in person, is you can see what it's gonna be, and it's gonna look cool once that's done. And it's gonna look cool in the sense too that, we've talked about it. That stadium, and they didn't have a great crowd Saturday, but it looks empty a lot of the times just because it's such a massive stadium. Like, it's the size of freaking NFL stadium. It's huge. It looks way smaller, the crowd capacity, just taking that big chunk out of it.
Should have done it years ago.
I agree. And so I think that's going to be better, and I kind of can see the vision for what it's going to look like, and I think it's going to be really cool.
I was worried in the preseason that you'd wake up, you'd turn on, I guess in this case on Saturday, ESPNU. For us, it was 9 a.m. in Vegas, ESPNU.
Yeah.
I was worried that when folks turned it on, you would go, what in the world are they like? People already have these perceptions of Memphis, fairly or unfairly, and then you turn on the Memphis football game, and it's like, what is going on? It looks like they blew the stadium up.
Right.
I know everybody could quickly Google and figure out what's going on. They're investing hundreds of millions of dollars in this thing. It's going to be nice. But like the initial visual, I was concerned that it would just be like, hold up, I thought Memphis was good and maybe on its way to some power conference, and maybe this is going to be a college football playoff team. And what on earth is going on with their football stadium? This looks crazy. And I can just tell you, somebody who turned it on and looked at it, it didn't look crazy to me.
No, it didn't.
It looked like a football program, a competent football program, playing a stadium that is dealing with some renovations.
Yep.
And that's all. It didn't look crazy. It looked fine. It looked fine. And the crowd looks fine within the context of what we're talking about. And the football team looks tremendous relative to.
Oh, they looked awesome. I know that it was a tie game early, but the Tigers quickly ran away with that thing.
Saw your colleague John Morant was there.
He was. Now, that was cool because I didn't know he was there, and that took everybody by surprise when they I love it when the offensive lineman goes and gives him a chest bump. Not this guy, the next guy. Hang on. His buddy's like, hold on, I got to go get some too. There he
Boom! Well, John's used to chest bumping with a Jonas Valanciunas and a Steven Adams, so ain't no offensive line going to work. Ain't no offensive line going to scare that chest. That chest has been through a lot.
It was cool because, you think about it, man, like, and we're excited about the Tigers, but like, I was thinking about that walking in today, and I was like, okay, would Kevin Durant go to like an Arizona State game and be on the sidelines? Like, I don't think so.
Actually, but maybe he might, just because he's like that.
But you know
I
what
get
I'm
your
saying?
point.
Like, like the fact that one of the premier stars in the league is, spending his Saturday out at a Memphis football game. I thought that was really cool. I was stoked to see him there.
John can spend his time however he wants to spend his time, obviously. But I think things like that are good for not only the city and for Memphis football, although it's great for the city and it's great for Memphis football. You heard Ryan Silverfield talk about it afterwards. I think it's good for Ja to get out and be loved.
For sure.
And just feel that. Because I don't know how often he's in his phone anymore, but I just know when you isolate yourself from the world and when you get as famous as him and as everything you do is dissected as him, then you have a tendency, at least some people do, is, tighten up your circle and you just sort of live around a certain few people, and then you're in your phone a lot. And you can see a lot of bad stuff in your phone. phone is a terrible place for you.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I mean, I listen. I could delete all the apps.
It's a terrible place for me. If I could quit it, I would.
Yeah, right. Like I could delete all the apps and stuff. Like I'm not saying it's so bad and I'm done with it. Like it's just so bad and I deal with it.
Yeah.
But it is bad, and I'm confident when all the studies are done, you're going to find out that we were much happier people and more content people and less envious people when we didn't have to deal with all of the and less
pre-smartphones
and less confused people. I mean, I think people are really confused right now by a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And I think we're going to find out. I'm confident about this. We're going to find out social media has been a terrible thing for us as individuals and broadly speaking as a country. But so when you're John Morant and you've gone through what he's gone through over the past couple of years, I imagine you start to feel, I don't want to speak for him because I've never spoken to him about this, but I can imagine you would start to feel like people don't care about me. People are just joking about me. People that got all their like smart comments, and that can really just sort of, I think, impact the way you feel about the world. Mm-hmm. And then something as simple as you go to a college football game in the city in which you are employed, and a city where people still love you and very much are wanting for the best of you, and you can feel that the second you get out of your vehicle, walking through, down on the field, when they show you on the Jumbotron. I think that's probably healthy for you. Healthy to be able to just feel that. So I know it was really cool for the Tiger football players and staff and fans and everybody to get to see Ja. But think about this. It's been a long time since Ja Morant's been in a stadium or an arena filled with people and had that type of emotion expressed in his direction. Remember, he was hurt almost all of last season and or suspended. He didn't get his name called out a lot like he normally would, like he will presumably this upcoming season, where you can feel that love. And in a weird way, he was able to experience that this weekend. And I bet you walked out of there feeling good about himself.
I bet so, too.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So
saw
it's a good day
him
for
posting.
everybody.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing. He wasn't just there. Like, he was there enthusiastically.
Yeah, having a good time.
Having a good time and posting about it. So, it looked like a wonderful, I watched it from a distance, but it looked like a wonderful day at Simmons Bank. And now it sets up, again, what could be an incredible week. I don't know whether they'll go to Florida State and win. It's difficult to know how teams like that respond to situations like this. I mean, I know Notre Dame took a bad loss this weekend and was also a preseason top 10 team. But if you are going from week 0, the season's about to get started, here's what we're looking at. Okay, and now we're, a few weeks into this, who's the most disappointing team in the country?
Yep.
You put that in a poll right now, Florida State is going to be the leading vote getter. There's a couple of different ways this could go. You had a bye week, you've settled things down, and now you refocus. And if you're Mike Norvell, you tell them, okay, guys, I'll be honest with you. We had national championship aspirations, and that's probably not going to happen now. At least it's certainly a long shot. But we can still accomplish a lot of things, and it starts right now at home in front of our own crowd. Let's go. Do you respond that way, positively? Or do you just fold it up? When things go bad, they get worse. Memphis Basketball, we saw that last year. You kept waiting, wondering, all right.
When are they going to turn it back on?
When are they going to turn it back on? And just never, you had these moments, but it never quite got where you needed it to get. Is that Florida State? Is it, hey, you've been punched in the mouth, so it's time to punch back and turn this 0-2 into 1-2? Or you've been punched in the mouth and you don't know how to recover from that. Plus, you got major quarterback problems.
Right.
0-2 against a good Memphis team is about to turn into 0-3. I'm not here to predict it. I know what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Ryan Silverfield go to Florida State and get what would arguably, if not undeniably, be the biggest win of his career, because it would launch them to 3-0. And I think would launch them then into the AP Top 25 poll. I know I'd like to see that. I don't know if we'll get it, but I tell you, it seems much more realistic right now than it did when we talked about it last January, February, March, April. Because as we approach this game, we are sitting in a situation that we didn't expect to be sitting in. Mike Norvell is sitting in a situation he didn't expect to be sitting in. What we thought this would be, based on all reasonable expectations, is 2-0 Memphis against 2-0 Florida State, and the Seminoles would be at home, ranked in the top 10, and a heavy favorite even against a Memphis team that could end up in the college football playoff. Now it's a 0-2 Florida State against a 2-0 Memphis. Tigers look good, Seminoles don't, And that's why the point spread, or at least among the reasons the point spread is only 5. 11 o'clock kick. It's on ESPN. This is massive because you know what people do before 11 o'clock? They watch Game Day.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
They'll pick the game. Yeah.
Yeah, but like your television doesn't automatically change from 10:59 to 11 to the game that you want to watch unless you've programmed it to do so. So, for instance, I was in my hotel room on Saturday morning. I had Game Day on. We're getting ready to get up and go to the pool and all that stuff. And
I see where you're going.
What I want to turn on is Memphis Troy. There 2 TVs in the room. Going to put one on Memphis Troy. Going to put one on Texas Michigan. All right? But we were watching Game Day. And then Game Day went off, and next thing I know, I'm watching, I don't know who it was.
Yeah, Iowa State or something like that. Yeah, right.
It wasn't that, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, I'm looking at this. Do you know how many millions of people are going to be watching Nick Saban and Pat McAfee, and the next thing they see is going to be Ryan Silverfield and Seth Hennigan? Because the channel's not going to change automatically. You're going to go straight from Game Day to Florida, Memphis. It's a big stage.
Yeah.
Big opportunity. I'm fired up.
I'm fired up too, man. I really am. I think, again, like I was saying, regardless of Florida State's record and everything, it's still, you got an opportunity to play a big brand that you just rarely get a chance to do. So regardless of their situation, I'm still excited about it. And I think that they got a chance to win this one for sure.
Well, when you're only a 5-point underdog.
Yeah, you're in it.
You're in it.
Yeah.
You have a chance. It's not crazy anymore. When you're an 18-point underdog, you can go, hey, we got a chance. Fighting chance. You never know.
Yep.
But probably not though. Yeah, you got a chance, but probably not. 5-point underdog, go win a game.
Well, let's go.
Go win a game.
Yep.
11 o'clock Saturday, ESPN Memphis, Florida State. Big opportunity for the Tigers. Meantime, Tiger basketball program, things aren't going as smoothly as you'd like. We've got an anonymous letter alleging major rules violations by both Penny Hardaway and various staff members. We've got Penny Hardaway firing 4 staff members last week. I wrote a column about all of it. Then Penny did a Q&A with John Rothstein. We'll talk Tiger basketball next. It's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Hey Grizzlies fans, after exciting hoops and a lucky night of gaming, where do you rest your head? Look no further than Southland Casino Hotel, proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies. Our high-rise hotel is the epitome of luxury and comfort. Picture this, you've just finished an evening of gaming and dining, so you head on over to one of our 300 rooms to end the night. Choose from standard, suite, and presidential suite, plus we're pet-friendly and offer mobility scooters for rent. It's a seamless experience for everyone. And don't miss the Main Street Exchange, right in the heart of our casino lobby. Whether you're craving a snack or need a souvenir of your stay, we've got you covered. From polo shirts to shot glasses, take a piece of the Southland excitement home with you. So come stay and play at Southland Casino Hotel, where every moment is designed for your enjoyment. Book your hotel stay by calling 833-703-3350 or visit online at southlandcasinohotel.com/hotel.
Guests must be 21 years of age or older to check in at hotel. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Maxwell in concert. The Serenade Tour. October 16th at FedEx Forum. Maxwell. With special guest Jasmine Sullivan. And October London. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Maxwell Live.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit Ortho South to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis men's basketball coach, conducted a Q&A with John Rothstein this week. And it appears to be in response to the criticism levied at the 7th-year coach after 4 more assistant coaches were removed from the program last week. And while the university acknowledged receiving an anonymous letter alleging major rules violations by both Penny Hardaway and various members of his staff. Big Bet Bennett, I'm assuming at this point you've read the anonymous letter.
Yes.
I assume you read my column on Penny, perhaps even Penny's Q&A with John Rothstein. Just as somebody who's wearing a Memphis hat right now, who cares about this place and that program deeply, what do you make of the current state of Tiger basketball?
I mean, and I did all of the above. One thing that I said last weekend, starting with the letter, I will just say obviously the allegations are serious. Not a big fan of anonymous letters. That's my personal opinion. I think someone should put their name on it if they're levying these big time allegations against the basketball program. So that's how I feel about the anonymous letter.
I got, just for the spirit of transparency, I received this letter a while back.
I take it a lot of people saw this letter a while back, or some people saw this letter a while back.
Yeah,
yes.
I've had it for a while.
Yep.
I found it interesting.
Yep.
Also, there's not proof of anything in the letter. It's just
allegations.
I could type the same things and send them to somebody and take a picture of a guy looking at money and say, this is what this means. But really, it could just be a guy looking at money. I mean, I want to be clear. I'm not dismissive of it. It's pretty detailed. I find it hard to believe somebody just made all this stuff up. But the idea that this letter is proof of anything, it's just not true. At least not the letter that I have seen. That said, it is troubling, if only because it's another negative headline in a long list of negative headlines. But you can continue.
Yeah, no, I read your story, and I agree with all the points pretty much you made in the story. I think, too, it's worth pointing out that you said multiple times in your story that you did not think that this should be the end of the Penny Hardaway era at the University of Memphis. I think that's worth mentioning. I think some people don't actually read things before they comment on them, but it is obviously not good to have negative headlines over and over and over again relating to the university, like firing all the assistant coaches or parting ways, before the season starts. That's just another thing that pops up and you're like, oh God, like it's why does this stuff keep happening? Why do these stories keep popping up? So it's obviously concerning. But as far as is it going to go anywhere? Does it mean anything? I don't know how much it means necessarily in the grand scheme of things. I think Penny needs to win basketball games this season. That's what I think.
In, again, spirit of transparency, as I think most people know, I was on vacation last week.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on talking or typing at all. And then as the week unfolds, I'm in one place vacationing with wife and kids, another place vacationing with wife and friends. In between that, what starts to happen is the biggest college basketball story, or at least the biggest headlines connected to the sport that are materializing, are originating in my hometown, at my alma mater. I'm connected to a coach that I've obviously written and talked a lot about over the years. And so nobody was like, come off a vacation and write this column.
Right.
But I did feel compelled to chime in. Like, you need to say something. If you weren't on vacation, would you say something? And the answer is yes.
Right.
And so I could have just said, I'm on vacation, I'll let somebody else deal with it. But I did feel like, because I'm not just a college basketball columnist or college basketball analyst or podcast host, but I am someone who grew up here as a fan of that program, who went to school there, who was a former beat writer, who very publicly campaigned for this man to get the job and for the previous coach to be fired. I felt like I wasn't obligated, but I was moved to write something. And so then it just comes down to, what are you going to write? What are you going to say? Because you can write something about anything. I'm not really impressed by that. What are you going to say? Say something. What will you say? And I just told the truth about how I feel, not just as somebody watching all of this unfold as a college basketball columnist or analyst, but as somebody who cares about that place and who did very publicly campaign for Penny Hardaway to be the coach. If I'm being completely honest with you, if I could rewrite it, like if I'd have a second shot at it, I would write it a little differently. I don't like the way I did everything in that column. Particularly, I don't like the way I very definitively said I was wrong when I said fire Tubby Smith and hire Penny Hardaway. Because I think that's a little too harsh, honestly, in regard to Penny and myself. I don't think I was totally wrong. I think it was a good idea, backed with solid rationale. And it did get off to a good start. The attendance problems that I referenced and insisted Penny would fix, he fixed them. The recruiting problems that I highlighted as issues and predicted he would fix, he fixed those. It got off to a good, it's not like a disaster like Clyde Drexler at Houston or Kenny Payne at Louisville. Those were disasters. This isn't that. So if I could go, because people really latched onto that sentence, I was wrong. And if I could go back and rewrite it, I wouldn't write it that way, because I don't think it was a wrong idea. It's just a good idea that isn't going well, or isn't going as smoothly as I would have hoped or anticipated. First, just because of the constant turnover with rosters and staffs. And I know that there's a lot of roster turnover in college basketball now because of the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, but this is unusual. Even in this era of college basketball, what has gone on at Memphis from a roster perspective is unusual. Like bringing back one player, bringing in 7 transfers, losing, for whatever reason, either your choice or somebody else's, losing the majority of your staff again. And if you ever talk to people who have run through that program over the past 6 years, people who have been assistant coaches and then, yes, sometimes left for bigger and better things, but not always. They don't look back on the experience fondly. They look back on it like, well, that was something. And there's just so many of them at this point. And the point I tried to make with the column is that it's just exhausting if you're a Tiger basketball fan. You don't know who the coaches are anymore. You don't know who the players are anymore. And your head coach, who is somebody you've long loved and admired, is constantly being accused of stuff you don't want your coach of being accused of, constantly being investigated. He has served more games suspended than he has won NCAA tournament games. And now here we are again. And I'm with you, this anonymous letter may amount to nothing, but the University of Memphis did have to hand it over to the NCAA, did have to acknowledge its existence, and it did create national headlines everywhere. You don't want this.
Right.
This is not the proper way to run a high major basketball program that doubles as a multi-million-dollar business. That's what this really is. Penny Hardaway is the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business. And respectfully, because I'm not trying to make it personal or take shots, This is a man I looked up to when I was a child, a man I still like on a personal level, whether he likes me or not. He's not doing a good job running a multi-million-dollar business right now. It is too chaotic and too all over the place. And so the column posted. It's there for everybody to consume. Whether it is what moved Penny to agree to do a Q&A with John Rothstein or not, I can't speak to that. I intentionally didn't even ask John about it. But Penny Hardaway did, subsequent to my column, do a Q&A with John Rothstein. And it was interesting, defensive on some level, but I understand this. I can get defensive myself sometimes. And I understand what it must, or at least I think I can understand what it must be like to be Penny Hardaway, somebody who has been admired and put on a pedestal in the city since you were like 16, 17 years old, without exception. And now over these past couple of years, some of the same people who have loved you and rallied for you and believed in you are now standing up and saying, I don't know if I believe in this anymore. I don't know if I like this anymore. That would be tough to deal with. I'm not Penny Hardaway, but I imagine that would be tough to deal with. So I can understand him being a little defensive or a lot defensive. I'm not even mad at him. But the one thing I would want to focus on, just to try to hammer home a point where I do believe, again, respectfully, he's a little misguided, is at one point in the Q&A with John, he's just, I don't want to say ranting and raving because it's a text Q&A. I can't speak to the tone of it. I didn't hear it. But he's getting a little defensive about the criticism directed his way through 6 years as head coach at his alma mater. And he's talking about how I'm having to learn as I go, and I wanted to run an NBA program. Now I'm trying to run more of a college. And he's got all these explanations. Let's call them explanations for why things maybe have been a little bumpy when they shouldn't have. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. I don't care. But at one point he says, I'd love for you guys, and he's saying this to John, so I'm assuming he means media members. I'd love for you guys to put my first 6 years against other people's first 6 years and tell me how it turns out. That's the quote. I'd love for you guys, as he's defending himself against criticism of his job performance through 6 years as head coach at his alma mater, he says, what I would love is for you guys to put my first 6 years against other people's first 6 years and see how it turns out. Well, luckily for us, I'd done this before. I did it last March. And I keep my notes. So I didn't even have to go do this again. I just had to go find my notes from back then and just make sure they were updated and correct. And I actually did exactly what Penny told me and told John Rothstein he wishes media members would do, right? And I don't know that anybody is successful, broadly speaking, as Penny Hardaway needs to take advice from somebody like me. But if he's willing to, here's what I would say. Don't ever say that again. Because when people actually start to look at your first 6 years and compare them to other people's first 6 years, it doesn't compare so well. It's not what you think it is. I've done this before, so if you already know all this, bear with me. But Dana Kirk got the Memphis job in 1979. This basically covers my entire life. It does cover your entire life. It largely covers Penny Hardaway's entire life. When we mostly think of Tiger basketball, somebody around my age, it starts with, I know it didn't start with Dana Kirk, but that was my introduction to Tiger basketball.
Gotcha.
So 45 years ago, Dana Kirk gets the Memphis State job. Since then, there have been 7 full-time Memphis coaches. 7 full-time. You could probably name them off the top of your head.
Yep.
If not, I'll help you. Dana Kirk, Larry Finch, Tick Price, John Calipari, Josh Pastner, Tubby Smith, Penny Hardaway. 2 of them, Tick and Tubby, were fired after 2 seasons for different reasons. With Tick, it was because of a scandal, inappropriate relationship. With Tubby, it was because of a number of things. Among them, the fact that FedEx Forum during home games had become nearly empty.
Yeah, people didn't care anymore.
They had a money problem, an attendance problem that needed to be fixed. It could only be fixed by firing Tubby Smith. So 2 of these past 7 coaches have been fired after 2 seasons. The other 5 all made it to at least year 6. They all at least completed 6 years. And this is just a fact. Penny Hardaway is unequivocally the least accomplished of any of them through his first 6 years as head coach at Memphis. I can show you this a lot of different ways. Here's the simplest. Through 6 seasons as a head coach at Memphis, Dana Kirk made 4 NCAA tournaments and won 11 games in the tournament. Josh Pastner made 4 NCAA tournaments in his first 6 years. 2 wins. Larry Finch, 3 NCAA tournaments in his first 6 years, and it would have been 4, but he was ineligible year 1 because of the Dana Kirk scandal. But still, facts are facts. Let's call it 3. NCAA tournament appearances in the first 6 years, 4 NCAA tournament wins. John Calipari, 3 NCAA tournament appearances in his first 6 years, 4 NCAA tournament wins. Penny Hardaway, 2 NCAA tournament appearances in his first 6 years, 1 win. Of the 5 coaches who have made it at least 6 years since 1979 at either Memphis State or the University of Memphis, Penny Hardaway has been to fewer NCAA tournaments in his first 6 years and won fewer NCAA tournament games in his first 6 years. Those are facts. Dana Kirk ended up lasting 7 years at Memphis State. Again, first 6 years, let me run you through it. 4 NCAA tournaments, 11 NCAA tournament wins, 3 conference championships, 3 conference tournament championships, 4 Sweet 16s, 1 Elite 8, 1 Final Four. That's Dana Kirk. Penny's first 6 years don't compare well to that. Then came Larry Finch. Spent 11 years at Memphis. 3 NCAA tournaments in his first 6 years. Would have been 4. Got 4 NCAA tournament wins in his first 6 years, 1 conference tournament championship, 1 Sweet 16, 1 Elite 8. You can take any 6-year period of the Larry Finch era, the first 6 years, the last 6 years, any 6 years in the middle, they're better than the first 6 years of Penny Hardaway. They're more accomplished. Tick Price, we know, was fired after 2 seasons. We'll skip that. John Calipari spent 9 years at Memphis. In the first 6, 3 NCAA tournaments, 4 NCAA tournament wins, 2 conference titles, 1 conference tournament title, 1 Sweet 16, 1 Elite 8. Josh Pastner lasted 7 years at Memphis, was pushed out after 7. But in the first 6, 4 NCAA tournament appearances, 2 NCAA tournament wins, 2 conference championships, 3 conference tournament titles. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
my advice, don't ever ask somebody to go look at your first 6 years and compare them to other people's first 6 years when over the past 45 years at the place you're working, every other dude who made it at least 6 years accomplished more in 6 years than you. Maybe they didn't get as many number 1 recruiting classes as you, but they accomplished more as you. It's just a fact.
Now, if I can make an excuse for him, there was 2 major events or things that happened during his tenure, which was 1, COVID, which
happened to every program in America.
Everybody. I'm with you. That happened to everybody. And 2, NIL happened when he
happened to everybody.
That's fair. But it didn't happen to those previous Memphis coaches.
That's fair.
When you're comparing those records.
Also, they weren't able to go out and enroll number 1 recruiting classes in a mid-major league. Do you realize he spent 6 years in a mid-major conference with high major players and has never won it?
That's tough. Like you've got to. Now, I will say, before last season, like, there have been I do think he's a good coach because there have been things to point to that suggest that. Like, you remember the first 3-4 seasons, we were all saying, like, they got a defensive identity.
Last January, we were saying it.
They have a defensive identity. Now, that team last year just completely fell apart. Like, that was a absolute disaster. There's no defending what happened last season. Even the loss of Caleb Mills, I just don't think that excuses the season playing out the way that it did. I mean, that's one player. That team went from good, you lose him, good player, but they just fell off a cliff. Like, that's
Caleb Mills was an important piece. He's not Kevin Durant.
Right.
Relax.
Right. So that and the injury excuse, I don't know about that. But I do want to see this upcoming season with this group. Again, this is his group that he went out and got. Brand new team, brand new look. We'll see. I hope that they can get back to that defensive identity that he has had in past in past teams, in past Memphis teams.
They might be able to. I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah.
You ready for this? They still have high major players in a mid-major conference.
Right. You should be able to
win your league.
Win the league. I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not saying pull the trigger now, and I'm not saying there's no way this is going to get better. He has high major players in a mid-major league. You should win it.
Yeah.
I mean, you should
be able to get to the
won it.
tournament. Yeah.
You should have already won it.
I'm with you.
This year's a new year, and you still got the best roster in your league by a wide margin. But it is an unusual roster, and it's not the roster or the type of roster people have been winning with in college basketball. There's a Twitter account, College Basketball Report, and last February, early March, they posted this, and I bookmarked it because I knew it would be something I come back and reference all the time. Last year, there were a handful of teams that basically everybody takes transfers now. Not everybody, but basically everybody. But there were a handful of teams that took 7 or more. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And what this Twitter account devoted to covering college basketball highlighted is that the schools that took at least 7 transfers heading into last season, I'll just tell you who they were. Arkansas, disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Disaster of a season.
It was.
Arizona State, not good. Memphis.
Yep.
UCF, whatever. West Virginia, not good. Penn State, not good. St. John's missed the NCAA tournament. The only team in the entire country that took 7 or more transfers last season and made the NCAA tournament was NC State. And you might remember, they only made it because they won the ACC tournament.
Oh, that's right. They had that big run.
And then they went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
But they were, if somebody didn't bank in a shot, they are eliminated in the ACC tournament and they missed the NCAA tournament. And then every team in the country that took 7+ transfers would have missed the NCAA tournament last year. The only one that made it was NC State, and that's because they got an auto bid by winning the tournament. They got hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. Every other team stunk relative to expectations. Well, guess how many transfers Memphis got coming in this season?
A lot.
7 more.
Yeah.
7 more.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the team can't be good. I'm just telling you, we have data on this.
It's unusual.
And teams that were built this way, they didn't have offensive identity, defensive identity. They were largely not good. And now here's Penny Hardaway building another team that way and doing it with what is largely an entire new staff as well. This isn't like Mark Pope at Kentucky having to take a bunch of transfers, or John Calipari at Arkansas having to take a lot of transfers. John Calipari took over Arkansas, and there was quite literally nothing there.
Yep.
Mark Pope took over Kentucky, and there's basically nothing there. You have to do what you have to do. Penny's heading into year 7, and there's still no stability whatsoever with the roster, with the staff. That's a problem. It doesn't guarantee a lack of success, but it does suggest it's way harder to achieve it this way than it is in a more traditional way. You shouldn't be heading into year 7 firing 4 coaches in September and basically trying to do it all again with a brand new roster. This isn't normal. It's just not normal. It doesn't mean it can't work. It means it usually doesn't work. But it's not normal. And sometimes I think people here have a tendency to normalize abnormal things just because you care about it so much or you want it to be something so much. But I can't tell you how many Memphis fans, I've written columns critical of Penny Hardaway before, of Memphis before. I don't always end up on the popular side of these conversations because the audience is emotionally invested in it in a way that sometimes they can't see it clearly. This column was not received that way. Not a lot of pushback on this one from Memphis fans. Can't tell you how many Memphis fans, and I'm talking about people who sit on the first few rows, people who have given way more to that program than I ever have financially, like real money people who care deeply about this place, who care deeply about Penny Hardaway. And they didn't hate that column. I can't tell you how many texts I got, tweets I got. This is the way I feel. You've explained how I'm feeling right now. I had high hopes, but I'm just tired. I had high expectations. I still do. But my God, Another investigation, another NCAA situation, another brand new roster, 4 more coaches moving on. What are we doing? Go look at the best programs in America. They are not run this way. Go look at who Bill Self's staff members are. They'll look familiar because they've been there for a minute. Go look at the staff Dan Hurley used to win a national championship last year or the year before. Now go look at his staff right now. It's the same dudes. This isn't normal. And I hope there's a way for Penny to recognize this isn't normal, probably not effective, and to stabilize it and fix it. That's still my hope. I'd love to write the column in February that says, boy, Penny Hardaway looked like he was up against it in September, but now look, with a brand new staff and a brand new roster, he's got the 5th best team in the country, according to the AP poll. I'll write that column, I promise. But this ain't usually the way to get there. And just to circle back to the quote that he delivered to Rothstein about how I wish you guys would go look at other people's first 6 years, compare them to mine, see how that goes. Well, I just did it with Memphis basketball coaches. That's a pretty good comp. I'm not comparing Memphis basketball coaches to Kentucky basketball coaches or UCLA basketball coaches. Just like, hey, this is the place where other people have held the same job. Here's what they've done through 6 years. Here's what you've done through 6 years. I just showed you he's the least accomplished coach of the past 45 years at Memphis among coaches who have gotten at least 6 years. You can't even argue that. But if you want to look outside of Memphis for another sort of comparable situation, well, there is one. And it was at Michigan. And it involved Juwan Howard. Juwan Howard's a member of the Fab Five. Perhaps not the most famous member of the Fab Five. It's probably Chris Webber. Mm-hmm. But he's Juwan Howard, member of the Fab Five, longtime NBA player, played in back-to-back Final Fours, and then a little bit like Penny, without having ever worked in college basketball at all, was given an opportunity to be the head coach at his alma mater. That's Juwan Howard. And he lasted 5 years. He's already fired. Got fired after last season. They fired him. He didn't resign. They fired him. And you ready for this? Didn't even get 6 seasons, all right? But through 5, after which he was fired, through 5 he had accomplished more than Penny Hardaway's accomplished in 6. Juwan Howard in 5 years, 2 NCAA tournament appearances, same amount as Penny, 5 NCAA tournament wins, that's 4 more, 1 conference championship, that's 1 more, AP National Coach of the Year in 2021, fired in 2024 after 5 years. Had accomplished more on the court, but got fired after 5 years. Why? You know what they said? We're tired of this. It's just one goofy headline after another. You're getting into a scuffle in a handshake line against Wisconsin. You're in a verbal, possibly physical altercation with a strength coach. You're constantly popping off. No, you haven't run this into the ground. You were the AP Coach of the Year 3 years ago. You've won 5 games in the NCAA tournament. That's 5 times more than Penny Hardaway. But you know what he still said? This is too silly. This is not the way you run a high major program. It's time to move on. And they did it. So when Penny wants to start comparing his first 6 years to other people's, go compare yourself to any other Memphis coach that lasted 6 years in my entire lifetime. It doesn't measure up. Go compare yourself to Juwan Howard. Proud alum, NBA great, got a chance to be the coach's alma mater. He's already fired after accomplishing more than Penny has accomplished at Memphis. Why? Because it just got too goofy. Yo, man, this is crazy. Bring me Dusty May. He seems calm. Let's do that. Here's the truth. Penny talked to John Rothstein and answered a series of questions and implied, if not definitively said, he thinks he's been wronged with the criticism, thinks it's unfair, doesn't even really understand where it's coming from or why. And here's the truth. If he were named any other thing than Penny Hardaway, Josh Smith, Josh Pastner, or even Larry Finch, he would already have been moved on. That's the truth. It is incredible and an incredible testament to how much people want him to succeed and how much people care about him that he's still the coach at Memphis. Because if not for those things, he wouldn't be. If not for those things, somebody else would already be the head coach at the University of Memphis. I know accepting criticism must be difficult for somebody as famous and successful and loved as him. I would struggle with it too if I were him. I struggle with it, and I'm just me. But the criticism is not unfair, and it's not harsh. In fact, at least here locally, he's been handled with kids' gloves a lot. Think about all the banana stuff. Popping off at reporters, popping off about other college coaches, 5-star recruits, coming here late, leaving in the middle of the season, returning. It's bananas. None of this is normal. And nobody else at the University of Memphis could survive this. Nobody other than Penny Hardaway. He is one of one. There is nobody else on this world who could survive the things he's being asked to survive as the head coach of the University of Memphis other than Penny Hardaway. I wish he understood that. I wish, rather than sitting around thinking everybody's out to get me, because nobody's out to get you. Nobody. Instead of thinking everybody's out to get you, understand you're lucky to still have this job. And if you want to keep it, it's time to stabilize things and get this thing back on the right track, because right now it appears mostly off the rails.
Number 2.
Big Bet Bennett. Your Tennessee Titans had their season opener yesterday.
Yeah.
Got off to a nice start.
17-0.
17-0 start. You're in Chicago. I'm already counting 1-0 for the Tennessee Titans. I can't wait to come in here and talk to you about it. Next thing I know, Will Levis is throwing interceptions, including an interception that gives up the lead in the fourth quarter. Can we watch that one real quick?
Yeah.
You need to see this, Bennett. Look at it. I know better than this. You don't ever want to do one of those. You don't ever want to throw the ball like that. I know that much. I mean, I've never been under center in the NFL, but I know that much. What happened? What happened to your Titans yesterday? How disappointed are you in Will Levis? And have you started to reevaluate your life?
Well, I've been telling you all offseason that, I got no expectations. I'm just here for a good time. I'm just going to roll with it this season and not get too emotionally invested. I'm just going to watch my team and have fun. I did not have fun. I had fun in the first half.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun in the first half.
I would have figured that.
I had a lot of fun in the first half. And it's kind of like Al Pacino in Godfather 3. Like, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Yeah.
And that's it's that same damn feeling that I get every season where it gets closer and you see some preseason games and you see some nice plays and you hear some good things in the press and you're just like, oh, well, I mean, are things good? Like, are we ahead of schedule? Or is this thing, like, going to get rolling starting this year? And then that happens, and you're like, 17-0, holy crap, they're beating the crap out of the Bears on the road. I know the Bears have a new quarterback and everything, but, like, look at this. This is amazing. The defense looks amazing. Dude, Will Levis, I want to root for Will Levis.
Well,
I want to root for Will Levis.
He's making it hard. I'm starting to see why Gia Duddy started to explore her options.
I want to root for Will Levis. I want to make that clear. I'm still rooting for him this season. But, buddy, that is, first off, that's the worst interception I've ever seen in my life. That's the worst interception I've ever seen in my life. He's on his knees slinging the ball sideways into the, I don't even know how the defender caught it.
Buddy, just take it.
Just take the sack.
Or throw it out of bounds.
Just take the freaking sack. Like, you still have the lead. Like, I just don't. They lost the game yesterday. Literally, that loss is on one player, and it's him. I mean, yeah, the offensive line leaves a little bit left to be desired. He is the reason they lost yesterday. I saw this today. I wanted to throw up. You know, the number 1 ranked defense was yesterday in the NFL?
Titans?
It was the freaking Titans.
Caleb Williams struggled.
They didn't score they didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Caleb Williams threw for 93 yards.
Dude, I don't even know how you lose that game.
Will Levis is the answer to that question.
That's the answer. I mean, he had just 2 horrendous turnovers in that game that cost you the game. I was so excited. Like, Tony Pollard, my favorite Titan, Tony Pollard. My favorite Titan, Tony Pollard. I'm getting a jersey this week.
Okay.
I'm my favorite Titan, Tony Pollard. He looked awesome.
Yeah.
Like, to go from, you're sick watching Derrick Henry on the first game of the season come out in that Ravens purple. I wanted to puke all over myself. But then Tony Pollard comes out, Memphis legend.
Back in his home state.
Back in his home state. And
Volunteer
he is
state.
just taking them down the field, just punishing the Bears defense. And I'm like, dude, this could be a lot of fun. I'm ready. Calvin Ridley making a couple big plays, our new big acquisition. I'm like, okay. The defense looks great. We thought they were not going to be maybe great. They look really good. And Will Levis just choked. Listen, it's game 1. So I'm not ready to move on from Will Levis yet.
Okay.
But, buddy,
Duddy did, though.
Let me tell you something. I watched another game yesterday between the Colts and the Texans.
Okay.
That was C.J. Stroud versus Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
And, buddy, I'm starting to question if Will Levis can play at that level. That's where I'm at.
Both them dudes was throwing it.
They look awesome. And if that's the standard for the division, I'm a little worried.
It is.
I'm a little worried.
The quarterback thing is so weird, man. You look at it, and it's like Bryce Young stinks, but Anthony Richardson might be good. C.J. Stroud's an all-pro, and Will Levis might suck, and you just don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Oh, man, at least I'm not a Panthers fan. At least I'm not a Panthers fan.
He's awful.
I don't. Jalen's a Panthers fan. I don't know if he's awful. That team is terrible.
He looks awful.
He looks pretty bad. I don't know if he looked as bad as Will Levis. I might.
You want to do a trade?
I would listen.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to move on just yet, but man, he's got to bounce back, and he gets the Jets next week, so it's a pretty good defense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you once upon a time, you'd say you get the Jets next week. You'd be like, okay,
let's go.
But like then you got to deal with the Jets, and they got some individual talent on that side of the ball. I gather.
If he loses,
we'll see tonight.
If he loses at home to the Jets and looks like he did yesterday, and our defense plays good and it's a tight game, but we lose.
Who's even the backup quarterback there?
It's Mason Rudolph. Remember him? I can't think of the my guy from the Jalen. Who's my guy from the Browns? Myles Garrett. When they were slinging the helmet. Yeah.
Somebody they accused him of saying some stuff, and
Myles Garrett thought he said something and swung a helmet at him.
And do I remember he was like, "No, I didn't. What are you talking about?" And then all his teammates were like, "What are you talking about?"
I don't
like
know.
Nobody was like,
yeah, no one corroborated that.
Yeah, it was just like Myles Garrett. He needed a reason
to swing a helmet
for why he tried to kill him, and it was like, well, he said the N-word because, like, if you do that, because I could watch that and I'd be like, Myles Garrett has lost his mind. You can't swing your helmet at Mason Rudolph. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And then you go, but he called him the N-word. I'd be like, hit him then.
Right.
Get what you get.
Right. Yeah, nobody.
So I understand the attempt, but you can't just drag a man's name through the mud like that. That's an awful thing to accuse somebody of.
Yes,
you can't just accuse somebody of that.
No, you can't.
I'm team Mason on that one, I think.
Man, I don't want to see him start for the Titans.
But I don't need to see him start for the Titans.
Please don't put him out there
either. Well, I wish it would have gone better for you.
Come on, Will. You got to be better, dude.
I wish it would have gone better for you. But, tomorrow's a new day.
I'm scared that the Will Levis era is going to be defined by that image of him on his knees like, oh, my God, I'm scared.
You just know. And, it's one of those things where – this guy has won big football games before, right?
Yeah,
you know not to do. Yeah. I'm always interested when you watch people do things, and they know you can't do that. Why did I do that?
No.
But in the moment, you can't help yourself, but you just do it.
Look at that.
It's tough.
That's brutal.
Wow, he'll do better next time, or he won't. That's the fun about it. We'll find out together.
I'm done. For real though. For real. This time, for real. I'm done. I'm just here for the ride. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not getting invested. I swear to God, I'm not getting invested.
You had quite a ride yesterday.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Sucked.
Well, there's always a new day.
Number 3.
Kendrick Lamar announced on Sunday morning that he has been. He's been asked, and he has accepted the responsibility to headline the halftime show at Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans next year at the conclusion of this season. Oh, it's a bad day for that colonizing Canadian.
Has he ever done the Super Bowl? He's never done the Super Bowl.
No, he's a master manipulator and a habitual liar, too.
That one's got to hurt a little bit.
Buddy.
Because I think, and I could be wrong, you'd probably know better than me, but I think if this was maybe a year or two ago, like that's Drake doing that. Like Drake is the headliner of the Super Bowl.
Drake was the headliner 6 months ago, buddy. His life has changed.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, 6 months ago, they'd probably just have Lil Wayne to do this in New Orleans.
Okay, sure, but like if you were saying,
but
if you were just polling the masses and said
Drake's life was so much better 6 months ago, or however long ago, let's just call it a year ago.
Yeah.
He was undeniably, whether he had the culture or not, he was the biggest rap star in the game by far, and life was fine. And now it has been flipped upside down on him. And a lot of it is just his own doing. He just like really miscalculated this whole thing.
If you were polling the masses, like you said, 6 months ago, whatever, and said who should headline the Super Bowl halftime show, Drake or Kendrick Lamar? I think Drake wins in a landslide.
Sure.
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if you did that same poll today, if that's how it would be. I still think that Drake might still win that if you put a vote to the masses. He's still popular.
I mean,
obviously,
he's still leading Spotify. And,
dude. Like, his music's still popular.
Yes. He just messed this whole thing up. It is one of the great self-owns in history, or at least in the history of music. Like, he walked into every bit of this and didn't have to. First off, I don't even mind him talking about he's the best, because that's sort of a rap hip-hop thing.
Yeah.
Like, say you're the best. Who cares? You know? Whatever. But then Kendrick jumps on like that and, takes a shot. Mother F the big three. It's just big me. All right? You know what Drake should have done right then? Let it go. It was a summer, it was a spring, it was a throwaway verse on a big hip-hop album, big rap album, but it wasn't resonating outside of rap. I remember being at the Final Four while, I guess, it's making look this up. I think J. Cole apologized on stage to Kendrick after trying to diss Kendrick, during the Final Four. And I remember, I was all into this stuff because I, am hyper-focused on this stuff. But nobody else knew about it. We're all in the media, trailer getting ready to do shows. And the only person I could talk to about it was Renee Montgomery, who, works with us, CBS Sports, and also she's a co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, former WNBA player, former UConn Husky. Me and Renee were talking about it. Nobody else even knew what we were talking about. Like that, J. Cole apologizing. It just didn't. It was just a little rap thing. Maybe a big rap thing, but still just a rap thing. And if Drake could go back in time, you know what you do? Let it go. Let him say, Mother F the big three, it's just big me. Let him call you just let it go. And maybe, because he lives in memes anyway, just post a screen grab of your Spotify streams and of Kendrick's Spotify streams up to that point and be like, I don't know if why is Big Me so low down in these, and just leave it at that. All right. Maybe you got more Grammys. Maybe you got more Pulitzers. Maybe you got the culture. But I'm still the one over here doing the numbers. But sure, it's just big you. Just leave it at that. But then he had to respond. Then he had to beg Kendrick to respond. And then Euphoria dropped. And it ain't never been the same for the guy since then.
Yeah.
And now, the man who lined you up and picked you apart and who wrote an entire song about you being a pedophile and then watched that song go to #1 in the world is going to close the Super Bowl halftime show, presumably with that song, with an entire world singing Not Like Us, presumably with a HBCU marching band in New Orleans.
Wow.
Buddy, what did you do,
tough.
Drake?
That's tough. That is tough.
You know how stupid you got to be to get into a rap war with a guy who is maybe not as popular as you, but a better rapper than you, a better writer than you, a better thinker than you, and who already has a Pulitzer Prize. Think about this for a second. Hey, I want to get into a rap war with somebody. You're the biggest rapper in the world in terms of numbers. Why do you want to start a rap war with somebody? I just feel like I got to respond. Okay, who? Kendrick Lamar. Okay, you realize Pusha T done whipped your ass once. Kendrick is a better rapper and a better writer, and he's better with words. He has a Pulitzer Prize, and you have ghostwriters. What do you want to get in this fight for? It'd be like me walking into an octagon against whoever the best in UFC is right now and be like, I want to fight.
Yeah.
Well, man, you probably don't need to be involved in this. You don't have to do this. You could just walk around the octagon. Keep it moving. No, put me in that octagon. Okay. You want to get in the octagon against a better rapper, better writer, better thinker, and a guy who's really from Compton, who really has the culture. He ain't out here impersonating. That's who you want to. That's who you want to. Okay, good luck. It went exactly how most of us assumed it would go, except worse. Except worse for you.
I do think pretty good halftime show.
It'll be tremendous. It'll be
like
tremendous.
that's a great halftime show.
Oh yeah. Oh, it'll be awesome. And I even love the Kendrick quote. Do you see the quote? He said, "Rap is still the most impactful genre of music, and I'll be there, Super Bowl, to remind everybody they've picked the right one."
I like that.
They picked the right one. You could have picked any rapper. They picked the right one.
Who's gonna make a guest appearance? Probably Lil Wayne.
I would assume, unless he's too proud to be.
Because you should have asked him.
Yeah,
but
could be one of
you
those
couldn't. That I saw that.
You could have. No, it's a very reasonable thing, but like,
I think reasonable. I don't know.
But this is a moment, and Kendrick is the star of this moment.
I think right now in this one, he's a bigger star, and you want a big star.
Just he's got the biggest song in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's got the biggest song in the world and it's out of nowhere. I mean, this guy does have like 17 Grammys.
Yeah.
He's one of the most decorated artists of all time. The knock on him would be he didn't have the big radio hits that Drake has, you know?
Sure.
But like he's making real art. I don't mean to get too nerdy on you, but like every album is real art. It's a real story. He's telling stories. He's not he was never, maybe not until Not Like Us, trying to make a big radio hit as much as he was trying to make art and tell stories and whatever. But yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. I can't wait. Put a smile on my face.
Okay.
Can't wait.
I'm in too.
I'm looking forward to it. But gotta not feel bad for Drake, but I'd feel bad if I were Drake, that's for sure, because Drake's obviously a massive sports fan. He probably has like Super Bowl parties and big things. What do you do? Can you imagine you're Drake at a Super Bowl party and here comes Kendrick, Not Like Us. You look around, everybody's trying not to act like they're not having the best time of their life, but they are. It's just tough. Might just have to sit it out.
I don't think you can have a Super Bowl party.
Stay home.
I don't think you can have a Super Bowl party. I do not. I wouldn't.
You get Chubbs and maybe that dude with the weird case and just hang out the house. You know?
Yeah.
It's
you
a tough
can't have a party.
situation.
That's
It's a tough situation.
Number 4.
Angel Reese's rookie season is over. She's got a wrist injury.
That sucks.
It does suck. Season's over. She announced it. Successful season. You would agree, right?
A great season.
Perhaps.
I mean, if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, she's hands down Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, but Caitlin Clark is hands down Rookie of the Year.
I know.
Let's don't turn that into
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
She's having one of the great rookie seasons ever in the sport, but there's this other player that's having the best of all time.
If they do and that's not technically true either because Candace Parker exists, but one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. And if you wanted to give a runner-up for Rookie of the Year award, I probably would vote for Angel Reese. She ended up averaging 13 points, 13.6 points, 13.1 rebounds per game. The Sky, maybe not as productive as we'd have hoped, but undoubtedly you would call it a successful rookie season. You want to know why? Not just because she set a double-double record and because she averaged 13 and 13. She matters. That's why it's a successful rookie season. She matters to people in good ways, in bad ways, in controversial ways. She matters. Like I've said for a long now, I don't even think I'm arguing with anybody anymore. But there was a time when there was like a real Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese argument going on.
Oh yeah, we argued about it on this show.
Yeah, it was always silly.
Yeah.
I tried to tell you that.
I don't think
delicately. I tried to tell you that.
It took Caitlin a second.
I tried to tell you it was always silly.
It took Caitlin a second.
I tried to tell you it was always silly, but now I don't even think I got to tell you. I think everybody now knows. Caitlin Clark is the star of this thing. Wherever this thing is going, not just the Indiana Fever, but the WNBA, it's Caitlin Clark. She's taking it there. She's going to end up being, and other people have said this, a lot like Tiger Woods in the sense that all these women are going to be multimillionaires because of you, all right? They're not going to be as good as you, but they're going to capitalize off what you bring to the sport. And that's why they should stop hating on you and maybe appreciate you because whether you like Tiger Woods or not, when you were losing to him in golf, you were making more money finishing 2nd or 7th or 17th than you otherwise would have been earning. Same thing in the WNBA going forward. This next television deal is going to be bigger than ever. There's going to be more money than ever. These women will benefit from the stardom that Caitlin Clark brings to it. She's the star. She's the Tom Cruise of this thing. All right? If this is Top Gun, she's Tom Cruise. But, like, Angel Reese is a character in this thing. She is Glenn Powell. Or, you know, she's a real character. She's not a co-star, but she's a real character. And so to not have her for the rest of the season, it is a bummer. But even though it ends prematurely, incredible rookie year. Mostly because, along with Caitlin, she really has helped lift this league to a place it's never been before. You and I are watching the WNBA standings.
Yep.
I now know how many teams make the WNBA playoffs, and I know how it works. I didn't know that last year. WNBA's been around for a long time. I just didn't know it, you know, because why would I need to? We ain't talking about it that much. People don't seem to care. But Caitlin comes. She comes with Angel. People start caring. Now we're not just caring about Angel and Caitlin. A'ja Wilson. How many times have you heard people say over the past 3 months, A'ja Wilson's the best player in the world?
A ton.
They're like trends on Twitter every time she plays.
Yep.
All right? I think she was the best player in the world a year ago.
Right.
Did you ever hear me say that?
No.
I didn't ever hear you say that.
Right.
I don't think we ever said it because we're just not something we talked about. Who's the best cricket player in the world? I don't know. It's not something I talk about.
I feel like I knew that at one point.
You might know it.
Yeah, because he's
You're
like
a little more well-rounded. You might have picked up on that down in Peru that one time.
Yeah, because he's like, there's like something about like notable athletes, like, and he's like up there, the cricket guy. I can't think of his name.
Okay, well,
I found out.
But you know A'ja Wilson's name.
Yes.
You know why you know A'ja Wilson's name? Because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. A'ja Wilson is just as awesome this year as she was last year.
I know about A'ja.
We didn't.
I know
now
about
I can't go a day without somebody.
No, it's true. It's all over the feed. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how the whole like rising tide lifts boat stuff works. I think
that's what they say.
You start paying attention to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and you go, okay, but who's really the best at this thing? Oh, I guess this is A'ja Wilson, woman out in Las Vegas. All right, let's look at that for a minute. This is how it works. And so Angel Reese has played a role in getting people like me, like you, to care about the WNBA. So that's an awesome accomplishment in year one, and I wish her nothing but a speedy recovery and more success in year two.
Number 5.
Shohei homered again yesterday. That's 46 on the season. Do you see how far he hit this ball?
And I forgot to bet on it. You know, the Shohei home runs have been the gift that keeps on giving all baseball season. It's been amazing, okay? And I forgot yesterday because of NFL.
You actually bet on Shohei homers.
Almost every day.
Really?
Dude, he hits one every game.
But he hits far ones.
It's at least every other game.
Yesterday, it was in a 4-0 win. 46th homer. It was measured at 450 feet. The announcers were like, it looks 600 to me. Watch this.
Crack.
I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, you shouldn't be able to hit a ball that far. Nobody should be able to hit a ball that far. He's outrageous.
Yeah, he's insane.
So he's now got 46 homers and 46 stolen bases. I think most people remember Jose Canseco was the first 40-40 guy, but we've had several since then, Barry Bonds, but we've never had a 50-50. 50 homers, 50 stolen bases in the same season, and he is now in a position to become the first. Also yesterday, his 450th home run. It's a 450-foot home run. It's his 9th of the season of at least 450 feet. Aaron Judge has 6. So he's got 3 more than anybody else.
Dude.
So he doesn't just hit more homers than most people. He hits them consistently further than anybody else, including the guy who is largely considered to be the best home run hitter in the world right now, Aaron Judge.
It's crazy. I mean, and I know they're going to let him pitch next season. I would wonder a little bit about messing him up. Like he's just in such a rhythm right now. Because there was a big column written about this. We talked about it a month ago or so, and they were like, we hear you, but that just seems crazy to us. Because he's an amazing pitcher.
Right. And this is why you also pay him like $70 million a year, because what you're buying there, like, you know, a frontline starter now in Major League Baseball, like Max Scherzer. By the way, saw Max Scherzer in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
I didn't see him on my own. We were walking to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like after a show, and then we're walking to a restaurant, and my buddy Mark's like, "Is that Mark Scherzer?" And Max Scherzer, and I was like, "What? Where?" And he was like, "Dude, I just saw Max Scherzer walk by, and I know it was him because he had a Rangers bag that said Scherzer on it." And I was like, "What? Why would Max Scherzer be here?" We started looking. He had done a rehab start with the Las Vegas AAA team.
Oh, I got you.
So he was just walking through Aria on, I guess it was Saturday night. But like Max Scherzer makes $40 million a year.
Yeah.
All right. And then what's the best hitter in baseball make? $40 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the best pitcher and best. If you want to go sign a top line pitcher and a top line hitter, that's probably going to cost you combined $80-90 million.
Yeah. So you're getting a discount.
You're
getting a discount.
You really are.
That's insane.
You really are. You got one guy who can do the job that two guys otherwise would have to do.
Yeah.
You'd normally need two people to fill the slots of best pitcher and best hitter, but you get that done with one. So I know it sounds like a lot of money you're paying him. You're probably getting a discount, and they say we're going to take advantage of it. He's ready to go opening day next year. Maybe not opening day, but whenever the Dodgers rotation, however that unfolds, he's going to be on the mound. So the rich get richer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shohei Ohtani, another homer. Needs 4 more stolen bases, 4 more homers to become the first 50-50 man in Major League Baseball history. Be back with GP's carryout.
I actually saw these on TikTok before you guys even sent them to me.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Hey Grizzlies fans, after exciting hoops and a lucky night of gaming, where do you rest your head? Look no further than Southland Casino Hotel, proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies. Our high-rise hotel is the epitome of luxury and comfort. Picture this, you've just finished an evening of gaming and dining, so you head on over to one of our 300 rooms to end the night. Choose from standard suite and presidential suite, plus we're pet-friendly and offer mobility scooters for rent. It's a seamless experience for everyone. And don't miss the Main Street Exchange, right in the heart of our casino lobby. Whether you're craving a snack or need a souvenir of your stay, we've got you covered. From polo shirts to shot glasses, take a piece of the Southland excitement home with you. So come stay and play at Southland Casino Hotel, where every moment is designed for your enjoyment. Book your hotel stay by calling 833-703-3350 or visit online at southlandcasinohotel.com/hotel.
Guests must be 21 years of age or older to check in at hotel. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Maxwell in concert. The Serenade Tour. October 16th at FedEx Forum. Maxwell. With special guest Jasmine Sullivan. And October London. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Maxwell Live.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let me focus on something we haven't talked about yet today. And that's that, Bennett, I got something I got to share with you.
What's up?
I feel like you need to hear it from me before you hear it from somebody else.
What?
I went to the Sphere in Las Vegas without you. I went to the Sphere without you.
Did you see an act, or did you go do like the Sphere experience?
Okay, this was wild.
Yeah.
So U2 had a residency there earlier in the summer. So on Friday night, it was U2 VR. I didn't really know what to expect, but it was the way it was described was it's the U2 concert from the Sphere earlier this year.
Yep.
And we've chopped it up and made it into an experience for people to enjoy.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, we really just wanted to go inside and see it.
Yeah, you want to see what it looks
like.
So
let's just go to that. So, okay. So we go, and there's maybe a few thousand people there. It wasn't full, but there was a crowd there.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. It's like you're watching a U2 show.
It's legit.
We were sending videos.
You don't wear a headset. They had them. It was like a hologram down there. It was the band. Okay.
With a hologram in crowd, and it was all live audio from their residency. So it sounded like Bono talking and singing and live, and the band playing live, and
that's cool.
The imperfections were there, and we were genuinely like, my wife would take a video and send it to people, and they'd be like, "How cool! You're seeing U2. How much did that cost?" They couldn't tell from the video.
Damn.
It was cool.
I gotta go to the Sphere.
So what's interesting about this place is at some point, the way I understand it is that anybody who plays there, the Eagles, U2, Dead and Company, going forward, it doesn't matter. Like, they have the technology to take that performance and then build it into a VR performance. So let's just say they've got Mariah Carey doing a 2-week residency in there, and then they have 3 nights off just to put people in the building. Because there's always tourists coming through. They just say, "Hey, tonight we're redoing the U2 virtual reality show. You want to come see the?" And there's always people like us who are like, "I just want to see it.
I just want to see the Sphere." Yeah.
And so you could just feel it's just, you don't even have to actually have an event to have an event.
That's cool.
You just got to turn this thing on and do it. So it was a cool experience. That place it's trippy. It's in, like, you look it. If you didn't know better, you'd think you're watching a U2 concert. It was really cool. So
that's
did that.
awesome.
Went to see Tom Segura. Do you like Tom Segura even though you look like him?
Who's Tom Segura?
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
I don't know how famous he is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
I just sort of saw him on Instagram reels and stuff, and then I would watch a Netflix special, and I'd be like, this guy makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't go to Vegas to see Tom Segura. I don't really know why we went to Vegas, other than friends asked us. We just said sure, and we had a great time. But went to see him. Hilarious. Filled up, like the Park EMGM too. Like,
that's cool.
And apparently he was just at the Orpheum the other night here in Memphis.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so he was fun. Good trip. The
Awesome.
classic 3 nights in Vegas. You don't need any more. If you do any more, you're going to end up hating yourself. But a good 3 nights, and I'm going to get you to the Sphere someday. I want you to see that.
I'd like to go to the Sphere.
Whether it's U2 or something else, I'm going to get you there someday.
Okay.
You're going to like it the most, I think.
What's today's biggest game?
Oh, it's Monday Night Football. Are you ready for some football?
Oh, I'm ready.
A Monday night party?
This is a good one. I'm excited.
I'm excited, too.
Yeah, it's a good way to kick it off.
It's the Jets and 49ers on ABC. 7:15 tonight, Levi's Stadium. Aaron Rodgers making what I guess is his second start with the Jets.
It's a homecoming.
Because he's from California.
Yeah.
He said the 49ers would regret forever not selecting him the night that he was picked by the Green Bay Packers. And here we are all these years later, and he's opening the 2024 season in Santa Clara against the 49ers. San Francisco -4, totals 43.5. How you going to act?
Dude, a lot of things are telling me to take the Jets here.
What things?
A lot of things are telling me to take the Jets
because when
here.
you got to take a 50-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, you should always do that, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. See, here's the thing. Trent Williams wasn't there for all of training camp for the 49ers. That offensive line is shaky without him. So he's back, but like he didn't have a training camp, okay? So maybe there's a little rust there is all I'm saying. And I wonder about Brock Purdy. I just wonder if...
I wonder about Brock Purdy myself.
You know, the Jets defense, they were a disaster last year. Their defense was awesome. Their defense was awesome last year.
Yeah, they're trying to win games 9-3 with Zach Wilson.
And so it's all about Aaron Rodgers. Like, what is he? Is he still a good quarterback?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either.
There's only one way to find out.
I don't know either.
There's only one way to find out.
I'm gonna play it safe and take the 49ers to cover the 3.5, but I don't like it.
No, 4.
Oh, it's 4. It's 4. Okay. I'm gonna take the 49ers, but I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't know if I like it either.
I feel like it's gonna be tight.
You don't believe in Aaron Rodgers, it sounds like to me.
I just got to see him put together a full. And it's been a long time, bro.
A while.
It's been a long time.
Remember his last year before with
they
Green
didn't make
Bay,
the playoffs.
They weren't that good.
Right.
He wasn't that good.
Right. And then you're coming off an Achilles injury. You hadn't played in forever.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a blowout tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen how that 49ers team is at home too. Yeah, give me the 49ers, but I don't feel great about it.
I hope the 49ers have figured out how that overtime works. You know, they seem to struggle with that last year.
That's right. I forgot. Please don't go to overtime.
Didn't we get an overtime? We got an overtime last night, didn't we?
Yes.
I got home just in time to watch it.
That was a fun game.
That was fun.
Good Sunday Night Football.
Watched like the last of the fourth quarter in overtime.
Yeah, man.
And then I put my head on the pillow, buddy. I was ready to call it a day.
Line's going to be a problem.
That's what they say. Bennett says take the 49ers -4.
What are we watching on TV?
All right, we can watch wrestling tonight. It's Monday Night Raw, USA Network. But I didn't even watch SmackDown on Friday night, and it feels like I didn't miss nothing.
No, there's not a lot going on.
Cody and Solo again?
I know. I'm good.
I'm
ready to move on from that.
Where is my tribal chief?
Where is he? What's going on?
He came back. Jacob Fatu beat him up a couple times, and he's gone again.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't know what's going on right now.
So let me ask you about something else, because I watched it, actually finished the fourth episode this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Have you started watching Chimp Crazy?
No.
Chimp, we talked about this, I think.
Oh, yeah. The Chimp documentary.
It wrapped up last night on HBO.
Was it good?
It was good.
Okay, maybe I need to dive in.
4 episodes, 4 hours, wrapped up last night. It's kind of wild.
I watched nothing but football this weekend. I was all in Friday or Thursday through tonight.
I was side-eyed all weekend.
I bet you were.
I don't know what I watched this weekend outside of fake U2 and Tom Segura. I don't really know what I saw.
Yeah.
And I thought fake U2 was real U2 for a minute.
Right.
You know? It was tough.
Oh, that's how they get you at the Sphere. Yeah. Been in Vegas a couple days. You think you're going to a U2 show.
You don't have to tell me nothing. Chimp Crazy. It's Tiger King-ish.
Okay.
But good and sort of mysterious. Like you don't really know where it's going or how it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
I give it 2 thumbs up.
Okay, I'll dive in.
Easy to watch. How about this? You'd never be bored.
Okay.
Do you like to watch stuff and go, man, I'm not bored?
I love that.
I don't know if this is really good, but I'm not bored.
I love that.
That's what Chimp Crazy is. I don't know if it's really good, but you won't be bored. But I thought it was really good.
Okay.
I say watch it. You can do it on that Max app right now.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best, but if you missed that column I wrote last week on Memphis Basketball, you can still find it on my Twitter feed or on the homepage at cbssports.com. So go check that out. I'm sure we'll revisit it at a later time.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Tuesday. Chris Vernon joined me in studio, so that'll be a good time. Chop it up with him. Looking forward to it already. We'll look back at Monday Night Football, and hopefully they'll catch that shooter in Kentucky by then. That's a wild situation.
That is wild. Holy crap.
Got a guy just standing on the interstate just shooting at people.
Holy crap.
Whew. It's a tough world out there, man.
Yeah.
Got to be careful. On the interstate even.
Yes, you do.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. We'll meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.